And there we are, straight in with the first competition of this new Winter Olympics. Snowboarding. We have fun boulders here. Oh, wait a minute. What's that?
Snow is just an illusion. Don't believe it.
Hello and welcome to this new episode of Off to the 7,000 Islands. It's a little bit of a different episode. I know it's Friday and it's in English, so forgive me for that, but it makes more sense to make it in English and you will see that in a bit. Today the Olympics are starting and maybe you're excited. I'm not so much excited. I'm not been a huge follower of the Winter and Summer Olympics since I myself stopped doing lots of sport. So before that I was watching a lot of swimming, and also I've been quite conscious that the Olympic Games are not really good for the host nations, and often those events give platform for dictators and other governments who I personally don't support. So that's some backdraws of this. And besides that, the Olympic Games are not very sustainable. We see that. I put some links down below as well if you're interested in that. And they're really, like other big events, like playing football tournaments in Qatar and all this kind of stuff, are a bit sometimes over the top ridiculous, and that's what I found a bit critical about them, so I try not to support them. But actually now I live in a really hot country and I kind of missing snow sometimes, at least, so I might be tempted to watch some ski jumping and some bob sliding. That might be quite interesting. And in generally, I am really aware of that there's almost no human rights are valued in China. That's a really big problem. So, and we all heard about it. So that there's no doubt that there's no freedom of speech. There's a massive surveillance. And as I study AI, so artificial intelligence, a lot can be misused, and we see that in China, and we will probably see that around the world in the coming years. Other governments who want to suppress their people will use it. And one particular thing which I found really ironic is that China is tightening the rules on religious content on the internet, on their social media. And we need to remember that there's almost no social media platform who isn't already controlled and restricted massively in China. Now, after the Olympic Games in March, they're tightening those rules again. And that's a really big concern. I put some sources down below, and open source and others have reported on that. And that's of course not just for Christians, it's for Muslims and for Buddhists and Hindus the same. So they're all restricted. And of course, as a Christian, I hear about the Christian, but everyone heard about Muslim being suppressed and other minorities being suppressed in China as well. And that's a big concern. And so that brings us to a kind of a dilemma. We are torn because on one hand you want to see great sports, but on the other hand, do we really want to support a government which is showcasing themselves there as well? It's very difficult, and often athletes arguing that we need to separate those things. We need to separate culture and sport, and I partly agree, because we need to honor those achievements and what they are doing, but that's very difficult to separate because they're doing it in some place, in some sort of setting, which is very, very difficult often to support. But nevertheless, there will be great sport, And I found this little video which Go Shattered made from the UK about the Olympics and about sport itself. So even if you're not a sport supporter, watcher, fan, you don't like sports, especially winter sports, maybe you're here like me in the Philippines and you actually have no idea about winter sports, then this is still for you. Because when we talk about sport and achievement, we often sunning in the secondary glory of people who achieve something for a country. For example, I think that sledge riders from Germany are really good and they're probably gonna win something. And so I'm happy and I'm proud. But there's something what sport and other things we do, no matter how proud we are of them, cannot achieve. And this video addresses it. So I want to give it to you, and it brings up some questions. Maybe you've been wondering them as well. Or maybe that's the first time you heard about it. But if you watch the Olympics or not, I can recommend that video which is following now, which is not made from me, it's made from Go Shattered, but I can really recommend it watching that as well. And if you watch the Olympics, enjoy that, but be maybe critical thinking of the situation in China and the situation what actually the environmental and social impact which the Olympic Games have, which are not very good, and you can see that in a documentary down below if you want to see it. And there's probably much more on that as well. So I hope you enjoy this little video and I leave you to it.
The Winter Olympics are full of some incredible sports and athletes. The strength, talent and perseverance required to compete, let alone succeed, is immense, and so is the pressure to perform. Whether we're a watcher, a sideline supporter or a player, it's easy to get wrapped up in statistics, doubts and questions. Has our team won or lost? Who's let the side down? Who is it all resting on? Our identity and value can so quickly become dictated by continually improving, never losing, performing well enough. Whether you're watching or competing in the Winter Olympics this year, what questions do you find yourself asking? What are your hopes and expectations? Where does your value and identity come from? Although alpine skiing, curling and ice hockey don't feature in the Bible does have things to say about performance, but maybe not in the way that we expect. I don't know what your experience of Christianity is. Maybe you grew up going to church, maybe you didn't. Maybe you concentrated in your RE lessons, maybe you didn't. Like a lot of people, you might think that Christianity is all about rule keeping, about performing well enough, about being good enough. The message of the Bible is actually the opposite. The Bible is realistic about our world and our hearts. It tells us what we might suspect deep down, that we're not perfect, that we cannot continually improve, that we do lose, that we don't perform well enough to meet God's perfect standards. Let alone winning a gold medal, we don't even make it onto the podium. But that's not all the Bible has to say about performance. It also speaks of the perfect performance of one man 2,000 years ago. Jesus lived a multiple gold medal life. No mistakes, no room for improvement, always top of the podium. But on the cross, Jesus chose to exchange his perfect record for our imperfect one. He took on our mistakes, losses, failures. He swapped our not good enoughs with his always good enough. We know a good life, a good performance, can't earn God's approval. But those who know how much they've been saved use their lives to say thank you to Jesus and to show others how good God has been to them. This flips the pressure to perform on its head. We can be free from always failing to be good enough. The question is, what will you do about it? Will you keep performing, or will you investigate His perfect performance that He offers to you?
Thank you for staying to the end. If you want to see more content, then check out our other videos. We are doing mostly a travel vlog, and we want to share on this channel by what we are moved in our lives, how we are, how we're doing, and most of it is a vlog where we share our lives, but sometimes we want to make a break and we make videos like this. Sadly, as I record this, my wife Alyssa is still ill with corona. She sadly can't be in this video, but you have probably seen her in the last video. I hope at least that she is there better again. But I'm recording that, of course, before you watch it. So that's why. And if you made it to the end, you know how it works. Give it a like. Subscribe to this channel if you like it. If not, thank you for watching this episode, and I see you maybe in the next one. Thank you for watching.